Welcome to Studio from Home from the Art Gallery of Nova Scotia. My name's Adam Graham and I'm the Regional Coordinator for the Outreach Program with the Art Gallery of Nova Scotia in Yarmouth. Today I'm going to show you a couple of ways to experiment with creating an architectural model and how to photograph that model after you've created it. These models are called maquettes. Maquettes are often used by architects or sculptors, and they're a small scale model that help them see what their design might look like once it's larger. Maquettes are a little bit like sketching in 3 dimensions and often turn into a work of art on their own. This activity is based on the artwork Wading Pool, Mount Hamilton Sanatorium by the artist Carl Zimmerman. It is a part of the Art Gallery of Nova Scotia permanent collection and was created in 1995. It is a photograph of a maquette that Carl Zimmerman made of an imagined building. The first time I looked at this image, I thought it was a photograph of a real building. I didn't know it was something that Zimmerman created. This photograph is from a series of works that even after you look at them feel like spaces that should exist. When you look at this photograph, what makes it seem so real? What are the elements that Zimmerman used that you could use to create something of your own? What kind of building would you create if you could? To do this activity at home, you'll need some cardboard. I find the easiest to work with can be food packaging like cereal boxes. You also need a paper and pencil, scissors, markers or paint to decorate your model with, glue or tape to stick everything together, and a camera to photograph your creation. You can also use any other materials you have available to add elements to your model. The first thing to do is to decide what you would like your model to look like. You need to decide if you'd like to do the interior of a building or the exterior. My son Thomas helped me out. He's just finished up 4th grade, and he decided to do the exterior of a building and make a little street scene. I decided to do the interior and make an imaginary art gallery. One thing that can be really helpful is if you take a piece of paper and pencil and draw what you think you might like your model to look like, and that'll give you a sense of the materials that you need to use. There are a couple simple ways to turn a cereal box into a building for younger children to decorate. The first thing that you can do is just tape or glue some paper to the outside of the box, and then they can paint or color on that. The other thing that you can do is you can turn the box inside out, which puts the plain cardboard on the outside and gives them a nice surface to work with. I happen to have some white paint around the house, so I use that to prep our cardboard. Keep in mind that a photograph is going to be the end result, so you really only need to prepare what is going to be seen in the final picture. In order to add some depth and realism to his final scene, Thomas roughly painted some other buildings and a road so we could photograph down a street for his maquette. If you have any small toy figures that will fit into your scene, you can use them, just like Carl Zimmerman uses human figures to help trick the eye into thinking that the scale of your scene is life-size. For my maquette, I picked a corrugated cardboard box and I painted the interior white. I let the dimensions of the box be the dimensions of the gallery space that I was creating, and then I cut out some holes for windows along the side to add a little bit of visual interest and to also let the light have a bit of direction in the end for the final photograph. Thinking about the architecture of our community and the way that buildings are often repurposed, I shaped my windows so that I was thinking about maybe a church had been turned into an art gallery. One quick safety note is that cutting out windows or doors can be pretty tricky, so this should probably be done by an adult. I created a small pedestal to play with turning things from the house into oversized sculptures on display at my art gallery. I also added a toy figure to the scene to help with this trick of the eye, and some paintings, contributed by Thomas, to the wall in the background. The more detail that you add, the more realistic your photograph will look. I certainly was not as detailed as Zimmerman, but you can see how with very basic materials you can start to make your small scene appear much larger and more realistic. When you're ready to photograph your maquette, there are a couple things that you want to do. First, you want to turn off any overhead lighting that you have and take your maquette close to a window to photograph it there. This will do a couple things for you. It will just make your picture look a little bit more realistic with natural light. And the other thing that it will do is give some direction to the light coming into your scene so that you can play with light and shadow and see how that can create different shapes in your final picture. We would love to see what you've created. Please tag us on social media so others can see your work as well. Thank you for watching this video. Stay tuned for more videos and lessons from Studio from Home with the Art Gallery of Nova Scotia.